I think creative people are amazing. And creative people are very different than, I would say, all the left brain thinkers. We go through life feeling a lot of things. That gut, the thing that tells us what to do, and our intuition, we're very strong. But we don't translate what we think into words. So we go around thinking everything's fine because it just feels okay. But when you start to put it down in black and white, intangible, boxed out versions like I'm doing, it becomes objective. We translated the feeling into something that a left brain person could process. And it's a little scary when you see it like that. Let me try this again.
I want you guys to listen to me.
Yeah.
I design sandwiches. My name is Jose Caballero, and I talk about the design of business. I talk about a lot of stuff.
My name is Chris Doe, and I talk about the business of design.
At the center of this operating system, it's about understanding.
Jose, can we just tell them what the show title is?
I hate you, dude.
You are watching The Process. I'm Chris, and on this episode of The Process, we're going to talk about the state of design education. The sentiment is we like to gripe, we like to complain. Tuition is too expensive, the teachers are not good enough. We want more from our educational system. Cost versus value. And I want to make delineation between cost versus value. Value talks about what you're getting out of it. Cost is an expense. And now if your education, your private school education in design costs $200,000, but you get $500,000 worth of value, then it's a bargain. But if you pay $200,000 and you get $100,000 worth of education, well, that's an expense. Let's start a little bit about talking about what design education is supposed to give to you. What is it that you hope to get out?
I wanted to gather some of the creative expertise of our instructors, because a lot of our instructors are, working creative professionals.
Okay.
When I began, my parents were really supportive of anything I really wanted to do. So because there was art school, it just kind of seemed like the thing to do. Like you go to the school that you do the thing at. Like if you go to medical school, you're going to do the medical thing there. So that's where I started.
Okay.
But I think after a few years of being at school, I think what I've been learning that I'm getting out of it is the connection, I guess.
Connection.
Connection with teachers that are in the industry, kind of like what Sol said.
Connection.
But also connection with my peers, which I think has been the most valuable part.
The network, and then, and friendship?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a professional network and there's a personal friendship network, right?
Yeah, and I also feel like just the discipline as well.
What kind of discipline? Like the military discipline?
Kind of just like feeling, because I feel like something about the way I work and like my workflow isn't something I would have completely developed on my own, and it's something I learned somehow with like the way
I know what you're saying now.
Yeah.
You're saying process.
Yeah.
You have a process. Okay, that's perfect.
I guess for me, I didn't necessarily know what an art school was, but I was told by many people that I was a creative person. So I guess I went to art school to kind of find out more about myself as like a creative.
I think inspiration.
Inspiration.
I remember being in school and looking over at people who were better than me.
Yeah.
And just that motivating me to push more.
Okay.
There's so many digital classes that will teach you the industry, but what I knew would be missing was the community.
I think the biggest thing that students get out of school, whether it be art school or otherwise, is confidence. And I think that's what's going to really get them a job, because that's why people hire you, is your soft skills, not really what you know.
Now you're using fancy words that not everybody might understand. You're talking about your soft skills. Do you guys know what the difference between soft skills and hard skills?
Knowing Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop, that would be a hard skill. Knowing how to do a presentation and really have people understanding what you're trying to say and what you're trying to get across, that would be a soft skill. Being able to write great emails that really get points across instead of meandering or being unfocused, that is a soft skill. Being really good in diffusing situations, because when we do work in art, there can be a lot of different personalities that work in this area, and being able to be a person that knows how to work with different personalities and be very diplomatic as well as being very productive, that would be a soft skill.
Concepting, communication, leadership, management, those are soft skills.
Storytelling.
Storytelling. All the technical stuff, the making, the doing, That's all under this, right? My friends from Art Center would call that manifesting. All the manifesting, making stuff. Okay.
For me, the reason why I went to Art Center
Yeah?
for the competition. I went to a trade school before. I went to Art Institute
Yep.
to learn a lot of technical stuff to develop.
The hard skills?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
I went to Art Center for the competition.
All right, what else do we want to get from school? Why did you pay so much money to be there? A portfolio?
Yeah, portfolio.
All right, you go to school, you better get a portfolio, right? Why do you need a portfolio? Why do you need a portfolio?
So I can get a job.
To get a JOB? Portfolio job, anything else?
Mentorship.
Mentorship, I love that. Thank you very much. Go ahead. Who wanted to say something?
Just skills that I can use and transition into other different areas that I would like.
What kind of skills? Like problem
Concept.
solving,
Yeah,
concepting, problem solving?
that I can apply into a lot of different fields.
To solve all kinds of problems.
I would be kind of design thinking,
Okay, design thinking? Like entrepreneurship.
entrepreneurship.
Can I write that up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I think I wanted to learn what it was about what I make that can be different from other people. I think
Like, is it like finding your creative voice?
something like that.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Or if it's not that word,
Creative
then
voice is pretty good. Yeah.
okay, thank you. Creative voice. Okay.
I just wanted to add that like professional mindset, we're getting prepped up for the actual
I like that.
professional world. Yeah.
It's almost like your dad texted you to say the professional mindset. That was good. It was very good.
To
was really
find
good.
some of my heroes.
Find your heroes?
Yeah, there were a lot of moments, like I didn't really have like, there are those artistic heroes, those directors that, you want to be like in the future. But
Right.
it really changes when this kind of ties into mentorship, when you're with faculty.
Yep.
That actually really sacrifices themselves individually for a student and for their students. They'll
Okay.
text you at 3 a.m.
Okay. So I'm going to say superstar faculty, right?
Like how what you find kind of valuable in like a creative professional. When you like look at somebody who's like working and they're teaching you, what do you see in them that you think is something you want to be like, I guess?
Is that like mentorship? Like you
Is
see
it?
somebody?
Perhaps, I guess.
So a role model then?
Yeah, role model.
Yeah, okay. I'll write that. Cool. Now, while we're writing this list, and I love that this list is getting really long now, I want you guys to scan this list. You guys are seniors, some of you guys that recently got out of school. How many of these things did you get from your school because you forwent, $500,000 worth of money? How many of you guys believe that you're getting 50% of what's on this list? Okay, 75% of this list? Starting to drop off a little bit. 100% of this list? Art schools tend to focus a lot on the hard skills, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Most of your time is spent learning these things, making, manifesting technical stuff. Is there anything else you guys want to add to this list of what you hope to get out of a private art school education, where you're going to be $500,000 in the hole?
Perception. When you have that degree on your resume,
Good
people's
one.
perception of you is changed. Even if you didn't go to school and you have more skills than a student who's gone to a private art school, it's like the salary between a man and a woman doing the same job.
Right.
There's a big stigma in our society about those that have degrees and those don't.
There's this thing that they feed to you. It's like the Kool-Aid. You're like, you drink it up. You're like, yeah, I went to Art Center, man. Like, what? And they don't care. Okay, so I'm a big believer, and despite what Marcella said, that your degree don't matter. I never look at it. I hire people here all the time. I really don't care where you went to school, what degrees you got. If you got a degree, if you ever made it to class, what your GPA is, it's a myth.
What I'm asked all the time is, how do I estimate a job? How do I price myself? How do I go out there and make money as a freelancer?
How do I negotiate with the client? How do I ask for the sale? How do I close a job?
How do I write a proposal? How do I
bid and estimate?
How do I get paid? What if someone doesn't want to pay me? And that comes with entrepreneurship, and I find this over and over again when I am hiring people that they have none of these skills, and it's
Right.
disappointing.
Caesar and Matthew, 10, 12 years out from an art school, right? Which one of these did you get from your school? And which ones did you learn on the job, like after school?
I would say from UCLA, I probably got more concepting, but on the job, and what I find more important is probably both communication and leadership.
Okay. Did you learn these things at school? Communication, leadership, management, and storytelling?
No.
No.
Well, no.
No. Okay.
Concepting, yes. A little bit of storytelling.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Matthew. Matthew, what did you get from school?
I think from school I got concepting and storytelling. I have to say that because I took your class. So, of course, I developed those more in
Right.
the field
Okay.
with practice. But communication, leadership, and management, I did not learn specifically in school.
Oh, okay.
I came in with Otis, like I come from a family of artists, and it's just, we were just built up with this huge ego that, we think better than people. But then I came into Otis, and there was this moment when this guy from Pixar came into this workshop and stuff, right? And I had my ego completely shattered by him in front of a bunch of people. And that fundamentally changed who I am and like the direction I took. Like I wouldn't be sitting here if that didn't happen.
I think creative people are amazing. And creative people are very different than, I would say, all the left brain thinkers. Did I get that right? It's the left brain thinkers, the logical people? Okay? I listen to a lot of radio programs and they talk about how your brain works. And there's a part of your brain, I think it's, is it the gray matter? It holds the facts and the data. And I think the interesting thing is that what I heard on the program was we know a lot about gray matter in the brain, but not a lot about the white matter, the things that connect them. I think creative people have a lot more white matter, and they're able to like bring weird things together. But one of the things they aren't able to do is articulate things with words as well. It's kind of a weird thing. Like you got a blessing and then you got a curse. And so what we do is we go through life feeling a lot of things. That gut, the thing that tells us what to do, and our intuition, we're very strong. But we don't translate what we think into words. So we go around thinking everything's fine because it just feels okay. But when you start to put it down in black and white, intangible, boxed out versions like I'm doing, and I say to Soul, that's $1,000 second reel. It made him like laugh out loud. Because now we're putting words and ideas in black and white, or in this case, blue and white, on this page for you to see. It becomes objective. We translated the feeling into something that a left brain person could process. And it's a little scary when you see it like that. I want you to start thinking about your education kind of like this. It's $1,000 a second. That's what you're getting. That better be a really good demo reel.
My mentor told me,
Yeah.
He was creative director at Foot Cone and Belding in Santa Ana long ago, that art is a means of communication. Art is there to enhance communication. And I've always looked at graphic design, motion design, as a way to express things that are unexpressible, to communicate things that are uncommunicable. And this is the value in it. And sometimes I think that there are people that have, I think what's the concept? We're in a T-shape. We have one we have one very strong skill and two skills that are probably okay too. But nowadays when you look at job descriptions, they want us to have like vertical lines like a barcode instead.
Right.
And I think that that's the thing that's really deterring a lot of the creativity that should be going on that's not.
So I have some thought on mentorship. I think I definitely got that out of Art Center because I'm here and I'm working for you.
You can't keep saying that, Matthew.
No, but it's totally true. But like,
Okay.
okay, so for me, I felt pretty sharp with my skills in the classes that I took in school. Like I felt like I was doing very well, but I didn't really have a target or goal to hit. I just knew that I'm moving forward. I'm going to do really well on this project, but I didn't have a good target or guidance until I met certain mentors along the way. Like I said, before I went to Art Center, I was at Art Institute,
Right.
and there are a couple of Art Center alumni there. They're like, oh, you're really good. You should go here. And I'm like, okay.
Right.
So I just went, right?
Right.
And then along the way, same thing. It's like I met certain people, mentors of mine that pushed me in the right direction
Right.
because I didn't have that. I just was working hard, but I didn't know where to go.
Okay. Talk about your portfolio. What is it about your portfolio that you want to get, that you're going to pay $100,000 to get?
Me specifically for my portfolio, I wanted something that was unique and kind of different. So I wanted to just kind of find my own voice.
Now, those of us that are on this side of the fence and we go to recruit, Matthew, I'm not putting you on the spot. Pass him the mic, please. How many portfolios do you see coming from, whether it's Otis, CalArts, or whatever, how many of them you see that are unique at Otis?
Not many. I go there for, I expect a certain thing, and usually that expectation is filled.
Right. And what do you expect from when you go there?
Good 2D animation.
Like cell animation, like the Bill Snead influence?
A lot of After Effects, Photoshop
Yeah.
animation, so I go there for that. And that's what I get. Probably 10 to 15 candidates.
You see, you see?
Do the same
You see
exact
what,
thing.
I mean, I don't want to burst your bubble, but the idea that you're going to go to school and be influenced by your peers, by the teachers who teach the same assignment over and over again, to give you a portfolio that the school becomes known for, it's not that realistic to say, like, my portfolio is so different, it's so amazing.
When I first started out, the thing that got me work was people were looking at other high-profile clients or projects that I was, working on, whether or not I had really worked with that client or project.
Right.
Because I was just picking up things and redesigning them. I didn't necessarily say if I had worked with that person. And my designs were good enough to start getting me real clients and real jobs. And that was the thing that differentiated me from the art school students.
When we go to the grad show, we generally see, in a very tangible way, a 1.5-minute demo reel montage, kind of, if you're good, 1.5 minutes. Okay, so what's a 1.5 minutes? 90 seconds. Okay, right? Yep. Those you guys are in motion and animation. Yeah. So you have a 90-second demo reel. So you're saying that demo reel is worth $1,000 a second. See? That's what you're saying. $1,000 a second. That's how good your reel is? I don't know.
I have a different opinion about the network because I also went to Art Center, but I think my network from Art Center significantly changed my path to afford the lifestyle and career I have now. So I think that I've been able to maximize my network out of Art Center.
Okay, let's make it less soft and fuzzy. Mm-hmm. Tell me how the network helped you. I'm not challenging you, I just want to know the details.
No, absolutely.
All right,
so
let's talk about it.
During school, halfway through, I went to Art Center for print. I was going to go there for branding or packaging.
Me too.
I was still trying to figure it out. Then around 5th term, just because of the people that were around me, specifically Chris Reel, who's now director over at Motion Theory, like we were in the same class. He was all about animation, and that was his goal going in, motion graphics specifically. I had no idea what that was. And then I met him, and then he introduced me to a lot of other motion designers at Art Center, and then all the past graduates at Art Center. And then I started taking classes. I took your class, interned for you, freelanced, and now I'm staff here. So I think most of my career is because it started from that.
A chance encounter, a friendship that exposed you to something.
I got very lucky.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I kind of like to think of that more like the butterfly effect, where like one wing flaps and it affects the tree, and then this, and it's a hurricane in America kind of thing. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of domino effect kind of things. I think when I think of a network, I mean like the Harvard network, where your bros from school are starting companies and they hire you, and it's like that's why people go to Harvard, because of the people you're going to meet that are going to be captains of industry. Is that the network you guys are talking about, or is this more like butterfly effect network? Because there's 1,000 people who have touched my life, who have influenced my direction one way or the other, and it's like one of those Back to the Future stories where you remove one of them and then I'm not here.
Right.
But I can't attribute to that all to like, well, because I did that. Like if the girlfriend didn't break up with me, I would still, be living at home. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Right.
There's too many like those kinds of things. But most people, I would say, and you guys can disagree with me, when you think about the network, we're talking about people who are going to hire you, give you opportunities, start companies with you, that kind of network.
Right.
That's a different kind of network. Okay, so is that the kind of network you guys are talking about? The people who can really help you, your career, you can collaborate with, but become captains of industry? Right, so you and I know this, Matt, Greg and I, we all talk about like who in our network, when we're looking for work, can we call upon? Our friends that we graduated with, the ones that are a little bit ahead of us and behind us, which ones are successful right now that are running companies? And they went really silent. Who can we call on our network? Like nobody. less than 5 people.
It's slim.
It was very slim. And I wish Greg were here because he's like almost nobody. I'm the most successful one in my group. Network. This is not the Harvard network. This is not the Berkeley network. This is not the Stanford network. Communication. You learning how to communicate? Yeah? Would you like to try? We can do a little role playing.
I think universally in art school, most art teachers tell you to explain your work. So from freshman year through senior year, I think you gain some communication skills, subconsciously maybe.
Okay.
I am in a different major than everybody. I'm concept art, and within my major, I feel like I'm not getting enough communication skills. Definitely, like, not enough. Because,
like none?
Like none,
Yeah,
basically.
right.
Because, like, when I went to intern, I was just kind of like, oh, I don't know what to do or what to say. Or
Right.
Yeah, so.
I think you guys also, like this whole entrepreneurship thing, think communication is just explaining what you did. That's not communication. Trust me. We can, if time permits, we could do a little role play here and you can see how good or bad you are because you've actually had very little training. And the only way I know how to say what I know is because I've paid somebody for 10 years to teach me how to speak to you, how to communicate my thoughts without being complicated, being direct, being clear. So let's pretend now that we just destroyed all schools and you get to find a way to work with these rock star, trailblazing, industry-leading titans. How would you work with them? How would that work? You guys are in the motion industry. I have a lot of respect for my friend Kyle Cooper, who is like a living legend when it comes to main title design. I'd call him up. Kyle, I'd like to work for you. Oh, the job doesn't pay anything? No problem. In fact, you don't have time? How about I pay you $10,000? Thinking I just made 15 because I'm a business person. Do you think he would say no to you? Maybe, maybe not. Has anybody tried? See, this is what I get when we start to think about rethinking design education. Not going through a process, hoping that you come out the other end okay. Who here believes that if they called up whoever, Danny Yount, whoever your idols are, Ash Thorpe, whoever it is, do you think if you called him and said for 3 months, I will pay you $10,000, do you think you have a shot at him saying yes? I think so. You guys think so? 10,000. I think so. All right. So for $100,000, how many rock star, trailblazing industry titans can you get at $10,000 a pop? If you paid $10,000 for 3 months, and your budget was $100,000, the number's 10. You would have 10. Now, I just want to let your mind fly, because you guys are really good at letting your mind fly. You're very creative. Let it fly. Just think for a moment how different your life would be right now if you just got 10 of those rock star, trailblazing, amazing, the guy from Pixar, the gal from, what is it called, DreamWorks, or whatever company. Let's say we have these 10 people, $10,000, and we only pick 5. So now we've spent $50K. Let's say one of them is in Paris, in the UK, and let's say Brazil. Just for, and whatever, right? Maybe one's in Japan. Where else? Brazil. LA. Berkeley? Berlin. Yeah, perfect. I like that. Okay, let's say it costs you $5K to live there. Okay? Let's say. Right? That, by my math, is 25, right? You still have $25,000 for party money. I don't know. You're still doing really well. Now get this. You get to live in Paris, in the UK, in Brazil, in Japan, in Berlin, to study under 5 masters. How attractive is that option looking? What's your name?
Vin.
Vin. I'm just, who's your idol? Who's your? Hold that.
Ash Thorpe.
Ash Thorpe. Okay, I'm Ash. I'm
Hi.
totally like Ash. Okay, we're gonna have a phone conversation. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. Ask me. Hey, Vin.
hey Ash, can I give you $10,000 and would you let me study whatever you do for 3 months?
And you're just going to shadow me?
Yeah,
Okay.
awesome.
Where did the school come in?
Um,
Nowhere.
well, I feel like
Do we talk about school?
No.
Yeah, it doesn't come in. You think they care if you went to Otis? If you went to Art Center or Cal Arts or community college? Really?
But wouldn't they want to see though, like your work before they hire
No.
you?
What did you ask me to do?
To shadow you. Okay.
No, you guys, you think, and you've been sold a bill of goods, that going to school gives you something. It did in the 80s. It doesn't in 2016. Nobody cares. I have many friends, people I've hired, people I've worked with, people who have gone on to have very successful careers that went to some school or no school you never heard of before.
What about credibility? You know, you're fresh out of high school, immature, and you want to go shadow this guy? Like,
You know the kids that are calling me? They're 16 years old. They've been freelancing for 2 years. So obviously the things that I'm saying to you in this kind of cold hard reality fantasy thing is a little disturbing maybe.
I think what you're trying to do is quantify something that is not quantifiable. It is qualitatable. And I get it. I get where you're going with the numbers and everything, and I get where you're going with the mentorship. But if you think about how many people we even have in LA in the society, and think about the rock stars that they would want to, in a theoretical world that you have laid out, each and every one of these students in here, there's only a finite amount of rock stars that they would be interning or apprenticing with.
I'm not sure we've exhausted the supply of rock stars because we've never asked them, because this is such a bold and weird model. Because you know what happens? People say, well, I'd like to intern and apprentice for you. How much are you going to pay me? That's what they say. They don't say, I'd like to apprentice for you, shadow you. You don't have to do anything. I just want to see and be part of every major conversation you have, and I will pay you. I've not heard of anybody doing that yet. And you know where I got the idea from? Sad to say. It's The Apprentice. There was that kid, that guy, it wasn't a kid, he was a millionaire himself. He said, I'll give you $1 million if I can learn from you in the next 6 months.
So I disagree that it's not quantifiable because they put a price on it. And like the private art schools. So
Ooh, you're right.
So they put a price on it. So they're saying, hey, this is what we offer.
And this is what it's worth.
And this is what it's worth. So for us to, like, we can debate like how much of it is like X amount of dollars, but they put a price on it themselves. So
it's true.
I don't know if every single one of my heroes would want to.
Have you tried?
I have emailed my hero, and he did not respond.
Okay.
And
because you know why? Because you sent him an email. So is email a good place to reach people? No.
Sometimes.
No.
I check my
No.
email.
If it's important, okay, check this out.
Mhm.
You're driving, somebody hits you, you fly out, you're in a ditch, you grab your smartphone, you're busted up, your arms backwards, you're bleeding all over the place. Mom, I'm in a ditch. Please come find me. Shoo. Email.
Okay.
Is that what you're going to do? No.
You have a point.
Thank you. Come on. If it's important to you, pick up the phone. Have the courage to use those amazing $100,000 communication skills that you picked up from Pixar and call somebody, knock on the door, and be persistent.
I'll do that.
That's about leadership. That's about having entrepreneurial spirit. If you want something, you ask for it, and you don't give up.
Where I am in my life right now, I feel a need to give back. I feel a need to teach. I feel a need to mentor. And I don't know that I look at my peers and they're not on that mindset. And maybe when our parents were going to school, when my father was coming up, he didn't grow up in America, but it was more, the elders felt a need to apprentice. They felt a need to nurture. And I think maybe part of it needs to be put on our generation to go, we have a duty and an honor to do this. And I don't see a lot of that happening. It is very difficult for these students to get a hold of the people that they would want to meet.
Okay, Marcel, I accept that it's difficult. Who here has called up their hero and said, I will pay you to teach me. All I need to do is hang out with you. Nobody has. I promise you. I've done this many times. I ask this question. Of course nobody's doing that because they're stuck on this model. I don't know what to do. I need some structure. You just tell me and I will follow along. Hopefully I'll get what I need. Like my whole thing is, this is the way it is. This is the way it always will be. That's just dogma. I don't really like buy into that. We can create anything. We haven't even talked about how schools have been impacted by technology, how they've embraced technology. Because I got to tell you, the way I was taught is still the way they teach now, 20 years later.
Just a fun fact. Academia is the most profiting industry since the 50s. That and healthcare system. So,
Marcelo was saying before, a lot of us didn't get into normal schools because we are nonconformists. That's why we chose this creative path, right? We're nonconformists. Except for we just conformed right into another bucket.
Yeah.
Really, we just did. Look at me, I'm a free, independent thinking spirit. I'll do anything I want, but go to school and do the job and then go to class and get a degree. Isn't that weird? Why do you go to a class and hear somebody repeat the same lecture over and over, year after year, decades after decades? Why don't we just find the foremost authority on the subject, the most engaging, charismatic, dynamic, most prepared person, just record that video once? Then have the students watch the video at home and then do the homework at school. And the teachers are no longer teachers, they're just coaches. They're just there to support and encourage you. Wouldn't that be amazing? Except for now what we have is the exact opposite. We have sometimes okay instructors, sometimes not, and they repeat the same lecture. And then the hardest part, the part where you have to figure out things using creative problem solving, communication, leadership management, storytelling skills, goodbye, go do it at home.